Coming up, a major step towards recovery in El Paso nearly 3 months after the deadly Walmart mass shooting. How one local organization is giving back to their community this Thanksgiving season, and why gold medal gymnast Simone Biles was kept in the dark during the investigation into Larry Nassar.
Local, trusted. This is News 3 at 6 on KBTX.
A Bryan man with a history of shooting people is sentenced to life in prison. Charles Dunn, who's been convicted of shooting 3 people in the last 30 years, was sentenced this week to life in prison. The decision comes after his most recent shooting in November of last year. At the time of the 2018 shooting, Dunn was on bond for shooting another man over a parking dispute in 2014. Steve Zimmerman with the Brazos County District Attorney's Office said, quote, "The jury's decision to give life in this case ensures this defendant will not have the opportunity to claim a 4th shooting victim." Well, a Bryan man was arrested this morning at a convenience store. He is accused of causing damage to the store and assaulting one of the employees. College Station police arrested 21-year-old Zachary Duncan after they say he went to a convenience store in Northgate and attempted to use the restroom early this morning. After the manager kicked him out of the store, police say he smashed a window and then punched the manager in the face. He's facing charges for assault causing bodily injury, criminal mischief, and public intoxication. He is now out of the Brazos County Jail after posting $6,300 bond. A memorial has been unveiled honoring the 22 people who were killed in August at an El Paso Walmart. The Grand Candela was revealed to the public this morning in the parking lot of the Walmart, which reopened recently for the first time. A private lighting was held Friday night for the families of those who died and for those who survived the attack. 21-year-old Patrick Crucius has pleaded not guilty to capital murder charges in the attack. Prosecutors plan to seek the death penalty. A former Houston police officer pleads not guilty to federal charges. He provided false information in a January drug raid that left 2 people dead and several officers injured. Gerald Goins entered his plea yesterday. A judge did not immediately rule on Goins' request for bond. Prosecutors are asking he remain in custody. The federal charges against Goins and another ex-officer follow state charges filed in August, including 2 counts of felony murder against Goins. A celebrated gymnast, Simone Biles, wants gymnastics officials to be held accountable for how they handled the Larry Nassar investigation. A new report says investigators didn't talk to her until months after she complained about his sexual abuse. A Wall Street Journal report found Biles was kept in the dark for years about investigations into Larry Nassar. Despite allegations, officials knew Biles had concerns about him. On Thursday, Biles tweeted, quote, "The pain is real and doesn't go away, especially when new facts are still coming out." Nassar, the former doctor for the USA gymnastics team, is accused of sexually abusing hundreds of female athletes he treated throughout his career. Well, many of you will be enjoying a Sunday brunch or dinner tomorrow, but before you go, check out this week's restaurant report card. Here's Rusty Surrett.
Halftime at Highway 21 receives an 83. Raw eggs were found stored over bread. An air freshener was stored with shot glasses. Chili and queso were missing date marks. All the King's Men in downtown Bryan earns an 88. Barbecue sauce and sausage links were found at unsafe holding temperatures. McDonald's on Villa Maria at the Tejas Center earns a 91. Burritos were at an unsafe holding temperature, and employees were also using a hand sink for a sanitizer bucket. Must Be Heaven on East Villa Maria Road in Bryan has a 98. Inspectors noted rust buildup on a drying rack and a magnetic knife holder. And our Star Plate Award this week goes to Taz Indian Cuisine on Texas Avenue at Southwest Parkway. We've got more scores online right now at KBTX.com. And remember, restaurants, keep it clean. We're watching.
The Larry J. Ringer Library is hosting a new event following recent renovations. Today, teens and tweens were invited to the Fall Festival. They created fall crafts, played Thanksgiving games, and enjoyed fall snacks. The youth librarian says she wanted to create a fun space for teens to have fun and celebrate the season.
We don't have a lot of that for like the teenage group, and it's a time of year that we don't really have in Texas. So I wanted to celebrate that and bring kids in from the community and just let them have fun.
The next youth event will be on December 9th, Cards with Care. Well, for more than 15 years, Aggieland Rotary Club has passed out Thanksgiving dinners. Today, club members and volunteers from the community put together more than 400 Thanksgiving meals. In those boxes were turkeys, veggies, and of course, stuffing. Volunteers then loaded up their cars and hand-delivered the meals.
Thanksgiving, we tried to give back to the community, and we wanted to share some of the thanks in the Thanksgiving to the rest of the community, especially those who are less fortunate.
Tonight at 10, we'll hear more from a volunteer that loves to give back this time of year. The world got a little brighter this week for a 12-year-old who was colorblind, and I can tell you this video will pull at your heart. Jonathan Jones tried on a special pair of glasses that allowed him to see color for the very first time in his life. According to Jones's mother, Carol, she was invited to his Minnesota school to witness the moment. Students say they were studying color blindness, and he gets pretty teared up. It's truly a moment that he'll never forget. The special glasses average around $350. Carol Jones said they will purchase a pair for Jonathan and start a GoFundMe page to raise money to buy glasses for other colorblind children. Well, it's a beautiful day here in the Brazos Valley, but is rain in the forecast? Erica Page has your pinpoint forecast coming up. Well, Texas ranchers are getting creative to keep their cattle fed, and this week's From the Ground Up.
Fly-by cameras are sponsored by Norman G. Tractor. Nobody beats Norman G. Tractor.
You're watching News 3 at 6 on KBTX.
This year we had a frost that came about 3 weeks early. That means ranchers' summer pasture grasses have gone dormant and winter grasses are growing slowly. So it's up to ranchers to provide their cattle the nutrition they need. Shel Winkley has more in this week's From the Ground Up.
One of the key measurements that we look at in a cow-calf ranching situation is body condition. And body condition is the amount of fat cover that cow has throughout her body. And so we like to go into a winter time with adequate body condition reserves on those cows. Especially a lot of producers in this portion of the state are going to be calving in December, January, and February.
Jason Clear is an associate professor and Texas A&M AgriLife Extension beef cattle specialist.
So the priorities of the cow are, one, she's going to take care of her calf. So when she has a calf, she's going to produce milk to support that calf. She will take her own body reserves, her own fat reserves, if there's not enough nutrition there, and use that to support the calf. Next in line is if she loses too much weight or condition, she's going to take care of her own body. And what will happen is if she does not have enough energy reserves to sustain herself and the calf, reproduction will be delayed.
From a rancher's perspective, fertility is the most important trait in their cows. And during the winter and early spring, cows depend on a rancher to sustain their body condition.
The winter period of time can be some of the toughest and challenging from the rancher. The days are shorter. Typically it's cold and wet in this part of the state of Texas. And with that, if it's cold and wet, raining, maybe ice, the rancher's job doesn't stop. The wintertime may be slower for some, but it actually kicks it up just a little bit, and it's one of the tougher times for ranchers just because of the condition.
I'm Shel Winkley, looking at Central Texas agriculture from the ground up.
From the Ground Up is sponsored by Producers Cooperative, proudly serving agriculture since 1943.
And while the season's first frost may have come early, I think we're in for a little bit of a warm-up as we wrap up the month of November. So how does this all translate as we look forward to Thanksgiving? We'll get you all those details right after this.
News 3 weather from the Pinpoint Forecast team is sponsored by the Bank and Trust. Local bank, local bankers. And now, local weather.
It's been a beautiful day from start to finish, and really as we continue on into the second half of this weekend, you'll step outside and things are still going to feel pretty comfortable. That's thanks to the fact that we just don't have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, but notice Monday and especially into Tuesday, we're really building that back in with some winds back out of the south, and that may help to promote at least a small chance for rain. Then you notice things get a little bit more comfortable Wednesday, but just because that may be the case doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be without rain chances. I really think that as we get towards Wednesday, Thursday, and even into your Friday, we are working back some better chances for rain, even past this first cold front. I don't know that we'll necessarily be able to build in enough moisture out ahead of it as we near your Tuesday afternoon, but it is something we'll continue to watch. For now, though, there's an area of low pressure that sits out across the west coast, and basically it's helping to bring in a lot more of these high high-level clouds back to the Brazos Valley. You saw a few of them this afternoon. I think we'll start to see a few more working in as we get towards the later parts of your Sunday as well as Monday. But if you're stepping outside this evening, temperatures still pretty comfortable. We're sitting into the mid and upper 50s, just a light breeze out of the northwest at about 5 miles per hour, and I really think that's about as gusty as those winds are going to get this evening. You'll notice we'll spend a good chunk of the nights into the 50s, and then as we get past midnight, that's when we'll really start to see those temperatures dipping down into the 40s for a good majority of the area. Overnight tonight, expect a little bit of that thin cloud cover to sit across the area, but I still think for a lot of us, we're going to be working in a lot more of those cooler temperatures. Upper 30s possible across our northern counties, lower 40s as you head a little bit further down towards the south. So that's where you're going to start off your Sunday morning. Then with plenty of sunshine once again in the forecast, I think we're back close to the mid 60s by lunchtime. And then as we're really getting into the afternoon hours, upper 60s, close to about 70 degrees is where I think a lot of us are going to top off. You'll notice that's pretty much where we should sit for about this time of year. But as we translate into the first week or the last week, I guess I should say, of November, what you're going to notice is a lot of these days sit well above normal. We're actually going to be working in a lot more of that heat. Temperatures take a little bit of a dip Wednesday, but I think as far as Thanksgiving goes, it should be a pretty comfortable day. Temperatures sit into the 70s, and then we're really building that heat back in Friday as well as Saturday, with some of those days highs trying to get closer to about 80 degrees. But here's where things start to get mixed up just a little bit more. You'll notice we've got that area of low pressure that starts to deform out towards our west, and generally it's a pretty amplified pattern. What you're seeing are all these colors. That's the jet stream. The brighter the color, the stronger those winds are in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And what you're going to notice is that starts to head our direction, which if you're flying may mean a little bit more of a bumpy ride, but really for us, we're going to see those winds translate down back towards the surface. So Friday, Saturday, and as well as into your Sunday, things are going to get pretty breezy. And as this low continues to cross off towards our east, we're actually going to see a little bit more of those colder temperatures trying to work back in as well. You'll notice those winds back out of the north, and then by Sunday evening, temperature-wise, could be only sitting into the mid-40s, and you factor in just a little bit more of that wind, things may not be feeling quite so comfortable. So if you do have any plans to be out and about this weekend, just keep in mind that temperatures are going to be on the comfortable side. If you're trying to get some of those Christmas decorations up, I think it's probably going to be a good weekend to do that, because by next weekend, I'm worried it might be just a little too breezy for people to be up on the roofs, even though temperature-wise by Sunday it may be a little bit more comfortable.
Some cool fall weather, and I've noticed too that the leaves really have a lot of color. This week it's a lot more vibrant than some falls we've had.
And that's thanks to that first couple frosts that we had, really bringing in some of that Arctic air, and it's just left us with a beautiful couple of days here as we get closer to Thanksgiving.
Get out and take some photos of the leaves before they're gone.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Erica. Well, coming up next, some sports highlights from both Texas A&M and Sam Houston State. The Aggies on the road and keeping things close with the number 4 team in the nation, Georgia.
Sports is sponsored by Allen Honda, corner of Southwest Parkway and Highway 6. Allen's got your Honda. From the KBTX Sports Center, News 3 Sports starts now.
Trying to disrupt the playoff picture, Texas A&M closes out their tough schedule with 2 SEC teams with playoff hopes. Today, it's on the road at 4th-ranked Georgia. The Aggies and Bulldogs taking the field for the first time since A&M joined the conference. First couple of drives were 3 and out for the Aggies, but then Mond finds Jamon Osbin, and despite the great coverage, he's able to come down with it for a 23-yard gain. Then the reigning Ray Guy Award winner, Braden Mann, able to flip the field for the Aggies as his 54-yard punt rolls all the way down to the 1-yard line. A&M with the ball back, and Seth Small ties the game up at 3 apiece in the second quarter as Small boots in a 37-yarder. Bulldogs scored the first touchdown of the game, though. It's Jake Fromm, who struggled early, but he throws a perfect pass here to George Pickens, and Georgia leads it 13-3 at halftime. To the second half we go. Mond to freshman Jalen Weidermeyer, who pushes through for the first down, but the ball comes loose at the end, and it's Richard LeCount recovering it for the Bulldogs. They're just held to a field goal, though, so Georgia leads at 16-3. Now, Iola native Ryan Rennick got his first catch of the season. He battled back from injury last year, and he's making Iola proud tonight, moving the chains for the Aggies. A&M driving back down the field. Mond finds Weidermeyer again, and the freshman sees open field ahead of him, but he's tripped up and brought down. The drive ends in another field goal. Aggies trail 16-6. A&M finally finds the end zone in the fourth quarter. Mond hits Osmond over the middle, and Osmond powers his way in for a touchdown, and just like that, it's a 6-point ball game, but the comeback attempt is just not quite enough. Georgia hangs on for the 19-13 win.
I mean, it was a hard-fought game. I mean, back and forth, a one-play game it got down to. I thought we showed a lot of guts in the game as far as how we competed in the game, how we made adjustments. The kids we made the adjustments at halftime, some things we wanted to do, offensively and defensively, and the guys did it, went out in the game, executed it, competed in the game very well, never gave up as far as thinking we had chances to win the football game. And defense hanging in there, and we driving on offense, and some situations I'm anxious to see what the film looks like.
The Aggies will close out the regular season next week on the road at top-ranked LSU. Now, another early SEC scores today. 5th-ranked Alabama obliterating Western Carolina 66-3, and Auburn in their tune-up before Alabama next week gets the shutout over Samford. Kentucky wins big at home over UT Martin 50-7, and Vanderbilt with a home shutout 38-0 over East Tennessee. Now, Sam Houston State honoring the seniors in the final game against Houston Baptist. First quarter we go. Eric Schmidt on the run. He finds an open Chandler Harvin over the middle. That's a 50-yard touchdown pass and catch. 7-0 Bearcat lead. Still in the first, they're up 13-0. Schmidt goes back to the air. This time it's senior Woody Brandom for the 19-yard score that makes it 20-0 Bearcats. In the second quarter, Schmidt is going to hook up with Harvin for a third time, and this makes it 27-0. Harvin had himself a day with 188 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. Houston Baptist finally gets on the board as Ben Ratzlaff hits Bailey Zappi in the corner of the end zone. That makes it a 27-7 game. In the fourth quarter, they're creeping into this. It's 27-14, and Donovan Williams will punch it in from 2 yards out to extend the lead, though, 34-14. Sam Houston wins it 37-14 to close out their season. The Bearcats get the win. Aggies, not quite, but it was competitive.
It was some good weather for everybody today, which is always nice as
Definitely,
well. So,
yep.
A lot of stuff happening today. Thank you very much for the update, Tyler. We'll take a live look outside. We'll be right back after the break. There's the Clayton Williams warm-up.
A pleasant night out there weather-wise. Temperatures across the area really sitting into the mid and upper 50s. We've got Caldwell sitting in at 51 degrees, but you'll notice winds. They are still out of the north, but still very light breeze. It's not expected to be as breezy as it was last evening. If you've got plans to be out and about, just keep in mind temperatures will be falling into the upper 40s as we get closer to about the 10 o'clock hour. And then I think really once we get towards early tomorrow morning, with just a few of those high clouds in place, temperatures should be allowed to drop into the upper 30s, right around low 40s across our southern counties. So it will be a little bit of a chillier start to the day. Otherwise, as far as your high temperatures go, as we get in towards the afternoon hours tomorrow, notice highs are expected into the upper 60s, right around low 70s, and we're really going to carry these 70s into a good majority of this next week. Only a couple 60s that you see there, and that is thanks to one of the cold fronts that comes through. The second one looks to be just a little bit stronger by next weekend.
Jacket weather in the morning, then maybe t-shirt weather in the afternoon. Sounds
Absolutely.
Like good fall weather to me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Erica. Well, that's our report for now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here tonight at 10.